Changed the format, didn't he? Changed the team. Absolutely fantastic.
Up the Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. See, Santa is a Boro fan. 3-0 we do, Swansea. Joining me out on the wing, Lee Fisher. Lee, good to have you back in the studio. Not your first time, I know.
No.
And also Joe Nicholson. He's become a regular. If he's not sitting in the couch, he's doing our match reports. Nice to have you with us, mate.
Yeah, good to be here.
Do you feel as daft as I do with me Santa hat on?
Yeah, very.
I got my Primark special here.
Thanks. Well, 10 out of 10 for your Christmas jumper. Well done for that one, Lee. Let's start with Swansea then. We'll chat quite a bit about it. 3-0, Lee. Welcome. How welcome was that win?
Especially after the second half against Liverpool and the second half against Southampton, where it was non-effort, to be fair. You know, I know Liverpool were top class passing side and the best team probably to play at the Riverside so far, but it was just that the way that we didn't even shot at targets in the whole of the second half against Southampton and against Liverpool, so it was a much needed win, to be fair.
It's always nice when the first goes in and then you see the second one go in. I had 2-0, by the way, with that man up front, the Beast, to score the first goal. So I was sitting there going, oh, the Beast and 2-0, quid's in here. And then it's nice to see the third one going.
Yeah, well, it was massive, wasn't it, to beat a team like Swansea who were low on confidence. And Karanka said before the game, you've got to beat the teams in and around you. And to be fair to Middlesbrough now, they've beaten Swansea, they've beaten Sunderland, they've beaten Hull, they've beaten those teams below them. It just really gave a massive lift, I think. If we hadn't won the game, people start questioning Karanka, start questioning his tactics, but it's so tight down there that one win can move you up 3 or 4 places. So it was a really big win.
You mentioned giving a lift. I mean, what does it do in terms of confidence?
Well, surely it gives all the players a massive boost. You know, if they don't beat a team like Swansea, who have just got a new manager, they've been leaking goals, their away form has not been great, then, you know, you're kind of thinking, do we really belong in this league? But we have beaten those teams, as I said, down the bottom now. So that should give us a real lift over this Christmas period. And there's a lot of games coming up. So going into the next game, Burnley away, Man United away, hopefully we can carry that momentum now. Got 3 goals, the first time we've scored 3 goals this season, so hopefully we can carry it over the Christmas period.
What's it do in terms of confidence for you, Lee?
I think it's nice. It's 6 points off him automatically, isn't it? Because you there can't get them points back off us until the next game against him. So I suppose that gap, we've already got a 4-point gap against the bottom 3 easily. And coming into Burnley on Boxing Day, again, I think it's another vital 6-point game. We take the 3 points off him.
We'll talk more about Burnley a bit later on, and Gigi Nutt himself.
It's good to get back into winning ways, especially as the away form's been excellent. Home form indifferent, and it's nice to have that win against a bottom
It's
team.
interesting you use the word form, because Aitor wasn't best pleased, was he, with the Boro performance, even though we're all happy with the 3-0. Did we play well, or did we not?
It wasn't the best game we've played, but it wasn't also the worst performance, as he said. I think we've had worse performances like that and not got anything away from it, so it was actually nice to play decent and get the 3 points. Main thing is the 3 points that we needed.
You were in the press conference, weren't you? What did Aitor have to say about the performance?
Well, I was really surprised coming out, and for him, the first thing he said was, it's the worst we've played all season. I think that was a big over-exaggeration.
Yeah, City first 45 minutes. It's the worst we've played all season.
I think, and Watford as well, there was times in that game. So I think you look at it and think that, you know, we have played better than that this season. However, Swansea weren't the best side. I think arguably they're the worst side that have come to the Riverside this season for me. Very poor defensively, but Boro took advantage of that. It was nice to see them score 3 goals. It was great seeing Negredo get 2. Hopefully he can get a lift with confidence. So I don't think it was the worst performance this season by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Karanka's trying to keep the players on their toes. I think he knows it could have been a lot better. I think Swansea were there for the taking, but he doesn't want us to get complacent. He doesn't want us to sit back and relax and say, OK, we've beaten Swansea now. We're a mid-table Premier League side. There's still a lot of work to do. And I think we'll see how good we really are when we go to Burnley on Boxing Day.
I think it's fair to say we were happy seeing the 3 goals. We were happy to take the 3 points. And that seemed to come out in your views as well. Mark's been out with the super cam to get those fan rants.
What do you think of it?
It was good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
3 points, good.
Yeah.
Who's the best goal then? What was the best goal?
Negredo's penalty.
The penalty.
A much better performance, I think, from Middlesbrough. And Swansea weren't a bad team, actually. They put a lot of good passing moments together in the second half, but our defence just held firm. More so than we did against Liverpool tonight. So, a good 3 points. Clown at the league. Hull got beat. So we pulled them away from the bottom.
Not the best I've seen them play at home for a while.
Good Christmas.
Quality of the opposition wasn't up to much though, was it? But not like Wednesday night. But yeah, played okay. Nice to see a few goals as well.
Yeah. So 3 happy and very welcome points ahead of Christmas. Ho, ho, ho and all that. Prior to the game, Joe, Bernie Slaven and Eric Paler came out and they wrote separate articles basically saying, let's have a go. It's Swansea. Yeah. Let's really have a go. Did we have a go?
I think Swansea almost allowed us to have a go. I mean, we obviously got the early goal through Negredo, which was great. A great finish from him. As I said, great to see his confidence back up, great to see him scoring goals. But
at home as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the second goal, they really gave it away, didn't they? The penalty. It was a clumsy challenge from, I think it was Jordi Amat on Adam Forshaw. And that gave us that breathing space, made the game comfortable. And there was definitely gaps in the Swansea side. You could tell why. I think they're possibly the lowest, or that they've conceded the most goals this season. That was clear to see why. I don't think they've picked up 1 point away from home under Bob Bradley. So I think they made it easy for us. But at home, I think we've got to have more of a go at teams. I think Ramirez was massive. I think he's a massive player for us. Links the midfield to the striker, whether it be Negredo or Rhodes, and really allows us to kind of get up the pitch and have a go at teams. We missed that against Liverpool and Southampton.
You mentioned Bob Bradley. He didn't get sacked in the morning, despite the chance. That might not be too far away, though. Did we grab Swansea by the throat and really have a go? Would you like us to have seen us be a bit more offensive, to use that American phrase?
The one good thing I liked about the second goal, particularly the penalty, was the quick throw. I know that Forshaw slightly barged the defender out of the way, but the way that Baran threw it straight down to allow Forshaw to get into the box that's what we've been missing all season, I think, is the quickness of our set players, throw-ins, corners, free kicks, etc. So I thought we actually did play well to attacking more, and we had more Clayton crossing for the first goal for Negredo. What quality finish that was. Even the third goal was De Roon's goal, where he just sneaked in there and side-footed past Fabrini.
Great ball in as well, wasn't it? We'll come on to Swansea a bit more and try and judge what you think our position in comparison with them will be come the end of the season. But first and foremost, I think we're going to listen to your match report. We've got to, do the usual, Joe. I mean, you're sitting on the couch, but we've got to get him at the game as well, don't you? But while we're listening to Joe's match report, there's the ginger nut himself. You can have a ginger nut. There you go.
Cheers.
Outside at the Riverside, following Middlesbrough's 3-0 victory over Swansea, a massive 3 points going into a busy Christmas fixture list over a direct rival in Swansea, who were only 3 points behind us before kick-off. So it was really important to get that win and get that bit of breathing space away from the relegation zone. Boro actually started quite slowly in the first kind of 10-15 minutes. Swansea had a shot on target through Gylfi Sigurdsson, which was saved by Victor Valdez. However, Boro took the lead on the 18-minute mark when Alvaro Negredo swept home Adam Clayton's cross with a brilliant first-time finish. And from there, Boro never really looked back. Swansea never looked like coming back into the game. They made it 2-0 before the half-hour mark when Adam Forshaw was brought down inside the area through a clumsy challenge, and then Negredo converted the penalty. And Swansea were quite poor at the back. Boro took advantage of that. They made it 3-0 in the second half through Martin de Roon, and they were quite comfortable throughout the rest of the evening. So as I said, a massive result for Boro. Perhaps not their greatest performance. Swansea definitely not the greatest side that have visited at the Riverside this season, arguably the worst. But Boro took advantage and claimed a valuable 3 points before Christmas.
So thanks for that, Joe. Thanks for that, Joe. The match report, as per usual, it wouldn't be RedArmy.tv without Joe Nicholson's match report, would it? Quick tweets. Let's get into the tweets. One here from Nilos, who does actually work behind the scenes here. Good performance against Swansea, but to be honest, they didn't give us many problems. Valdez top form when needed. What a keeper up the Boro. So thanks for that, Nilos. Swansea, we've talked about how bad they were. Are they, Lee, we'll start with you. Are they a team you fully expect to finish below us this season?
Definitely be in the bottom three. And it'd be even worse if they get rid of, if they sell Goodison as well. Good, is it Goodison? Sigurdsson.
Yeah.
Sigurdsson. I think
I'll have him.
Definitely the best
Yeah,
player.
take him.
Best player for Swansea on last match. I think they've gone wrong by selling Ashley Williams at the start of the season. They've got inexperienced centre defensive pair in there, and it's totally making them vulnerable at the back. And they are definitely the worst defensive unit seen in this league so far.
So that vital bottom three then, Joe, we can definitely say we can shade one of the areas in grey with Swansea's name.
I think so, yeah. I'd be pretty confident of finishing ahead of Swansea.
Who else is down there that's as bad as
Hull.
them?
I think Hull are very limited. I think Sunderland...
Great, there's 2 of the relegation spots already sorted, yep.
I think Leicester, I think they will...
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think they'll get better, but...
No.
It's funny because I did say at the end of last season, when they became champions, I fancy them for relegation. Now, I was half tongue-in-cheek, but I fancy them for relegation.
They may not be
I don't
relegated.
think they'll go down, but they're going to be down there
They're struggling. Especially like Vardy's now
suspended
again.
I think they'll improve over Christmas because they haven't got that Champions League football. They struggle to balance that, and
Depends
I think...
if they keep
Is this our saving grace, fellas? The fact that we're saying Swansea are woeful, Hull are woeful, we've got West Ham struggling down there, Sunderland struggling down there, we've got Leicester struggling at the moment. I've mentioned Palace who are down there struggling. There's a fair chunk of teams down there. Could this be our saving grace, or are we actually better than those teams, so we shouldn't even be thinking about, who can slip in below us?
I think some of the teams you mentioned there, I think like Palace have actually got some really good players there, and there are a couple of managers out there that if, say, a Swansea or a Crystal Palace did change the manager, Sam Allardyce is available. Would someone go to him, and you'd fancy him to maybe keep a team up? So it can all change. We've obviously got the January transfer window coming up. People can bring people in. So I think at the moment we're definitely not one of the 3 worst teams in the division. I think any neutral that's watched the Premier League this season would agree with that. We're very competitive. We're in all the games, apart from the Liverpool game. So, but we haven't scored goals in some games. Apart from scoring the 3 against Swansea, we barely had a shot against Liverpool, barely had a shot against Southampton. So we're definitely not the finished article, and I think a lot of Middlesbrough fans would even agree that we're probably going to finish in the bottom half of the table. So it is going to be tough, but I think at the moment there's 3 worse teams in us, but it's about getting the points on the board, and we did it on Saturday against a direct rival, so that was really important.
Well, we've got to keep doing it. We've got to pull these points in, no matter where they come from.
It'd be interesting to see, like Alan Pardew last season when Crystal Palace had a good start and then it had a nightmare second part of the season. If that's carries on the same...
Pardew's a streak manager. He goes on big winning runs, big losing runs, so...
But he's not a bad man to have in charge if you're down there struggling in the final third of the season. I think he can get... It's a bit like Allardyce. He can get that.
Fans are turning on them, on Pardew.
They are.
There's definitely about four or five teams in that mix. I think we're confident.
I think a team like Palace have the quality though, when you've got someone like Benteke up front.
They did look decent coming forward at the Riverside, didn't they? As much as I hated losing those points, but they did look decent.
Depends if they keep Zaha in it. If they keep Zaha past January, he's the main supplier.
You mentioned there about the fans and thinking where we're going to finish. It's interesting, that leads us into the poll that we conducted on Twitter. We do one every week. We've got a couple to run through, but we did ask the question just over the last 24, 48 hours. After seeing us take Swansea apart, what position do you now feel will finish this season? 53% of those who took part fancy us 14th or 15th. So it's looking a lot more positive than it was a couple of weeks ago. Second place was 16th or 17th. I'd be happy with 17th as long as we don't need points in the final game of the season. I don't want to have to go to Liverpool and expect to get something to secure our 17th spot. Interestingly though, 4% of people still think we're going to fall into the bottom 3. On the back of that, a couple of posts coming out. From Eramis We Shall Be group, David Emerson, top 10, he's confident. Johnny Tiger McCann, 14th or 15th, but anything more would be brilliant. Dennis Neeshaw, 15th. And from the Middlesbrough FC, the Real Fans group, Ronald Surge. I'm being a bit cautious. I'll say 14th or 15th. That's cautious. Good lad. Jake Morrison, 14th, 15th. Paul Johnson above 14th. Tim Toohig, though, says we ain't finishing out at the bottom 6 because we simply don't win enough games. They're your views. Keep them coming in, of course. Red Army. Look for, if it's social media, it's Boro Red Army or at Boro Red Army. Or you can email us, studio@redarmy.tv. Right, let's take a break from the chat. Let's catch up with the latest news, the goings-on that surrounds the Boro. Here's Chris Story.
We start RedArmy news this week with Boro's chest-thumping keeper coach Leo Percevic, who looks set to be out of action for at least a couple of months. The Uruguayan snapped his Achilles tendon after falling at the Boro training ground on Friday. Now, do you fancy a job at the Boro? Hospitality stewards are needed to help manage both matches and other events. G4S, who the club uses to steward games at the Riverside, are looking for locals to join the company on a casual basis. More details can be found via the website careers.g4s.com. Now, if you've not yet tasted Boro's hospitality packages, the FA Cup game against Sheffield Wednesday gives you the chance. The club has a limited number of hospitality packages available starting at £35 per person. The Hardwick Bar gives you access to a private bar and an East Stand seat, while a Legends Lounge package provides 3-course meal, free bar and a seat in the southwest corner. And if you have any Boro-related news, just send it to us here at bororedarmy.tv. You can email it to studio@redarmy.tv or send it via social media at Boro Red Army.
Fellas, this was in the Gazette. We touched on earlier Gaston and how important he is. Now, Karanka saying he took a bit of a gamble, throwing Karanka straight back in there after his little tweak, his little knack. How important is Ramirez to us, Joe?
I think he's huge. I think we saw that in the Southampton and the Liverpool game. I don't think it was any coincidence that we barely had a shot in those two games. I think possibly Southampton, he may have made a difference. Liverpool, it's stretching it a bit to say he would have made a difference because they were really good on that game. But we definitely missed someone to get us up the pitch, drive us forward, that bit of quality in the final third, which he showed against Hull to get the winning goal. He showed that again at the weekend against Swansea, and he's really the link man between the midfield and the striker, whether it be Negredo, whether it be Rhodes. And we know what we're going to get now with Karanka's size. We're going to be good at the back, disciplined, hard to break down, but it's then the task of those forward players to provide that bit of quality. And I think Ramirez gives us that. He's the most creative player in the squad. We saw for the third goal, that cross for Darun. And he's the one really that I think makes us tick, definitely going forward. And no coincidence that we scored 3 goals at the weekend, as bad as Swansea were, but the fact that Ramirez was back, I think made a big difference. Yeah, well, come on then, Lee. Boro without Gaston, Boro with Gaston, how much of a difference is there?
I was surprised at Southampton that he didn't play straight down in Ramirez row rather than have Strani on the wing. I think Downing is the type of number 10 to deputise for Ramirez, and he would have been the person.
So without him, how much of a difference does it make to us? Without
we
Gaston?
definitely look short with no creativity at all without Ramirez. So I know he only plays, he always seems to be took off after 60 odd minutes, but I think we need to keep him as fit as possible, and we definitely need him staying for the rest of the season if we are to be 15th, 16th in the league. We need to keep him. He's our creator.
Striker gets isolated as well, doesn't he? No, Negredo gets isolated up front.
Yeah, definitely.
He does, yeah. He definitely plays that link role in there.
You looked at Southampton, Jordan Rhodes, he had one effort in the whole game, and that was the first 3 minutes of the game. And that was because Victor Fisher was the only disappointment thing from the game against Swansea, that Victor Fisher was coming into it more. The more games he's played, he's getting better and better. And it would be nice to have Victor Fisher and Fiore and Ramirez as a prong-free attack.
It'd be nice to see, wouldn't it? Now, I caused all sorts of trouble just before the Swansea game. Me mum will tell you I cause trouble all the time. We did ask the question after the Liverpool game, and it was before the Swansea game. Is it working? It's as simple as that. And there was a yes-no answer, effectively. Is it working? Yes, I trust Aitor Karanka 100%, or no, we need a change. And by change, what we were asking was, are you happy with what you're seeing, or do we need to change formation, players in January, whatever? We didn't necessarily mean change the manager. And that's where the trouble came. So just having a look at some of the reaction that's been about on Facebook and Twitter. George, we should do a vote just by people who went to the games over the past 7 seasons. Premier League glory boys making us look a joke. Ian Smith, absolutely outrageous that there's even a vote for this. I seem to have gripped you somewhat, Ian, haven't I? Without AK, we wouldn't be where we are now. Simple fact. Well, I would beg to differ on that. I think with 3 seasons and Steve Gibson's backing, any decent manager might have just got us back into the Premier League. But hey, I'm not knocking either. We did well, 3-0 against Swansea. Mark Shalliker, the world wearing rose-tinted spectacles, I see. So I'll put them on. Both pairs. Oh, hang on, I can't even read now. There you go, Rose. I'm watching it all through rose-tinted spectacles. Can't bloody see. Alistair Craig, we need a change or we'll be down in the Championship again. So that's just finishing all that off. I'll get rid of them, that's silly. So I'm glad I've managed to just clarify that. Right, the players are out and about been having some fun this week. Yep. Plenty of work against Swansea, good performance-ish, 3 points, 3 goals. This is what they've been getting up to. They've been posting it on social media, and the Grinch, just so you know, is one of our own. It is Ben Gibson who's the Grinch. And interesting to see. Who was it who were in the same jumper? There was Brad Guzan and Clayton, of course, wearing the same jumper. So good to see the players out enjoying themselves. We're down in London for their Christmas party. Merry Christmas, players. Now come on, give us some points. Which we'll come on to shortly. Before we do that, we'll talk Burnley next, fellas. We didn't get to play this last week because it was a packed show, but we did scour Dubai a couple of weeks ago. Remember the Southampton game? We don't really want to remember the result, but I was actually coming back from a job in Asia and landed in Dubai, started getting onto social media saying to Boro fans, where do we watch the game? No response. Smoggy's on tour, not responding. So we did a bit of an internet search and found out there was a pub somewhere in Dubai where the Boro fans should be, and I went in search for it.
But here we are in Dubai. We're heading towards, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got no idea, I had to go on the internet, where Boro fans will be hanging out to watch the Southampton game. But Dubai's scenery is simply stunning. Have a look. So the hunt for the Boro fans watching the Southampton game goes on here in Dubai. Some pretty big buildings, but that one just appearing now is the biggest. The world's tallest building. Over 2,000 feet high, massive. Well, the hunt for Red October continues. We're out of the city now. And still no Boro fans. So we're still in search of Boro fans watching the game. Now we're told there's a place called Barrel 12 on the Palm. It's on the internet where Boro fans will be watching it. And we found it after a 75 dirham taxi ride. Still haven't found any Boro fans, but we're getting closer to the game and I'm doing it Dubai style. Typically, it's a national holiday, so they're not allowed to serve beer. So all the pumps have got cloths over. So I'm... oh, it's gone. I'm on Diet Coke. But, in true European style, ahead of Brexit, mules and frites. Well, what we thought was going to be a nice, quiet watch of the Boro, it's far from that. So we've got United blaring out on the big screens, and I've had one of the little screens turned into the Boro game, which has already been turned over by one United fan, but it's gone back. This gives you an idea of, oh, there's another challenge coming in, what we've got going on here. United on the big screen in the spaces. Boro on the small one. But the beer's there. No fans. But we're good. So there you go, a bit disappointing in the end. No Boro fans found, and the Boro went down to a 1-0 defeat. Anyway, at least I saw the game here in Dubai. Bye.
So I never did find the Boro fans, but we did get to watch the game and get a beer in the end when the cloths finally came off the pumps. Right, Burnley. the not so small matter of a trip to Turf Moor, fellas. Seems to be a bit of needle in the air coming from Lancashire. Fortress Turf Moor. I honestly feel we're going to get it right away from home this season. Much better performance, progressively getting better since the West Brom game. But next up is that dirty, cheating set of individuals managed by that Pratt Karanga. It's a huge 6-pointer, so let's be up for it. Give them hell. I don't understand why we're dirty, cheating people, but where's all this come from? Where's this angst from the Burnley side come from?
Not sure. Well, it's come from last season, hasn't it?
It's come from Ginger Nut, hasn't it?
From Sean Dyche.
You're having a go at us for spending money.
Yeah. When they spent 9 million on Andre Gray.
Yeah. But we spent 9 million on Jordan Rhodes and it became a problem. Probably because it's Blackburn, Burnley, something like that anyway. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the game, Burnley? Is it a must win? Is it a point will do? Is it a 6-pointer? Come on, what's your thoughts?
I wouldn't say it's a must win. I think Swansea was a must win, playing at home against a side that were low in confidence. Burnley have been good at home this season. They've picked up most of their points at home, but it is another game where you'd expect Burnley to be in that relegation battle near the bottom 3. So I'd say it's a more must not lose rather than must win. If we come away with a point, I don't think it's a bad day going away from home. We've still got to play them at the Riverside, so I don't think a point would be bad. I think we'll stick with that kind of 4-3-3 formation or 4-5-1, however you want to view it, with the 3 central midfielders. Make us tight, make us difficult to beat. And if we can have on the counter-attack the pace of Ramirez, Traore, whoever it may be, I think we could cause them some problems there.
You'd be happy pulling a point back from Turf Moor?
Normally I would say yes to away games, but in this case, Burnley, I'll be definitely wanting to win. I think their round, like Joe said, is that the teams around us, and especially going to Man United on New Year's Eve, we need to make sure we get the 3 points before that game against Burnley. So we're not going into Man United if we don't get any points from there, and the other teams around us have picked up 1-3 points, maybe 4 points in the time of Man United game result. So I think every win is a must to keep us confident, backing on from the Swansea game, pushing on, and then hopefully we can get something from the Man United game. Even if it's a point, it's better than nothing. It puts us on to the other close games against like the Watfords, etc.
I like the cut of your cloth. Let's just go to Burnley and win, and we'll go to United and get a draw. Love it. Absolutely
we
love
need to win teams against, like you say, around us. Otherwise, like you said before, is we don't want to go to the final games of the season needing the points. I want to be safety with 3-4 games to go.
You've had your say as well, bouncing back from the Burnley onslaught heading our way. Matthew Duplessis, how badly do I want us to beat Burnley? Nothing against the team, just the manager. I refuse to speak his name, prefer to address him as a tool. Nice. All we ever heard from him last season is how Boro spent so much money, etc., etc., etc. Smog on the tees. Sean Dyche took Burnley to Poundland for their Christmas party to show them how to save cash. He then took them to Harrods to teach them how to look through a window. Paul Richards jumped on the back of this and said, apparently he complained at how expensive Poundland was. Nice. Colette Daly, thank you for this. Gingers are for life, not just for Christmas. We'll also put up our ginger nuts as well. Yeah, there's quite a bit coming back, and we did just to fit in, we did our own very special ginger nuts as well. Joey Barton's back though. Signed for them. Do you expect him to play, or is he not going to be match fit?
I don't think he will be.
I doubt he'll play.
No, he won't play.
So not a problem. Not a thorn. Shame.
Yeah, shame. I like Joey Barton.
Would you want Clates to do him or something like that? Yeah. Look at him sitting there sniggering.
I'm a quiet man, shy as anything, but I want him taken out.
Funny lad. Right, so it's predictions time, fellas, because we're done. Lee, we'll start with you. What's your prediction for the game?
Going for 2-0, Negredo and Clayton.
Oh, Clayton's going to get it. Well, he did run forward, didn't he? I mean, that was amazing
to see.
Rare,
wasn't it?
Yeah. And he was straight out on Twitter saying, hey, fellas, I used to be number 10, you know, don't be surprised. So 2-0 Boro win at Turf Moor. Where are you going, Joe?
1-1.
Yeah, interesting. 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
Are we going to score first and are they going to equalise in the last minute?
I think they'll score first and we'll equalise.
Don't care. Well, I'd actually quite like us to do a
Yeah.
Man City and equalise right at the last minute. That would be like a dagger to the heart. I'm going for 1-1 as well. That's what I fancy. I just hope they don't get an early goal because I think that would put a bit of pressure on us and they'd really be at us. So, fellas, thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Lee, there's one for you, mate.
Thank you
Merry
very
Christmas. Joe, one for you too.
Thanks very much.
And we do have a couple of ginger nuts. I think I've just given you that one of me, so you can have a ginger nut. There you go, Mr. Dyche. And we will catch you after we've taken 3 points from Burnley and before we head off to Old Trafford. Catch you then. See you.
I think the score's going to be 2-0. Broughton Ramirez, off the Boro.
Come on, boy, we can beat these Saturday.
Come on, lads, believe. Come on.